Welcome everyone to the Ayurvedic Habit Building Program, week number 22. We're on our final habit today, post meal rituals, and this is our implementation week. As always, let's begin our session with a guided presence pause and breath regulation. I request you all be seated in a comfortable position and gently close your eyes if possible. Let's begin by bringing your awareness to your breath. Notice your breath and any natural changes in your breath. Now shift your attention to your stomach. Simply notice any sensations in your stomach without labeling them or judging them. Now shift your attention to your feet. Be present with any sensations on your feet. Now move your attention to your posture. Notice your posture without fixing it. Notice what's running on your mind without judging or engaging with your thoughts. Simply observe what's running on your mind. And notice how alert or tired you feel in your body. Scan your body to notice how alert or tired you feel in your body. And notice where you feel it in your body. Notice where you feel it in your body. Let's take 3 deep breaths on the count of 4 and 6. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Be present with what you're feeling. For a couple more seconds, gently open your eyes. All right. So today is the final habit implementation week. So far, we've covered 9 habits, and last week we discussed about post-meal awareness. An invitation again to pause and reflect on all the previous habits. We are going to have a concluding and a revision session after the next session, just going over all that we've covered so far and summarizing it all. But I also invite you in the meantime, as we wrap up this program, to go over all the changes you've made throughout the course of this program and just be aware with the impact it has and how you're progressing with all that you're currently working on. So, before we discuss post meal implementation, a quick refresher about what we spoke about last week. Last week, we explored why the period immediately after a meal matters more than we often realize. The hour after eating doesn't just determine whether we feel sleepy or energized, it can influence your digestion, nutrient absorption, your sugar regulation, feelings of bloating or heaviness, and our long term metabolic health, which impacts literally every other system in our body. So, what you do post meal does matter. And we discussed a few things that are not ideal after meals, such as napping, especially lying down on the bed, and engaging in intense exercise or jumping straight back into stressful work or endless scrolling. Instead, we encouraged becoming curious about our current habits. We discussed about being aware of your current patterns first before we bring in healthy healthy practices post meal. So your awareness practice that I suggested was to observe what you do after you eat. Do you rush back to work or do you reach to your phone? Do you sit and relax? And how do these choices impact your digestion? Observe how your energy and fullness and overall comfort matters based on what you do post meal. How your actions or habits post meal impact all of your digestion, energy, and your metabolism. So, the goal was to notice these patterns without judgment. And I hope you got a chance to do that. And this week, we'll build on that awareness. We'll explore practical ways to support the body after meals. We discussed two main rituals that are suggested post meals. Let's begin with Shatapavali or the 100-step walk. The goal of this practice isn't exercise or burning calories, it's simply to support the body after a meal. The gentle movement after the meal can aid digestion and reduce that feeling of heaviness or sluggishness, and it helps regulate post meal blood sugar fluctuations, blood sugar spikes that naturally happen post meal. And how it does that is it encourages the muscles to use glucose more efficiently, reducing the blood sugar in the blood. So this practice is recommended even by Ayurvedic textbooks as an as a great way to improve digestion. And I understand that it's, although ideal, not practical for everyone to follow this. So there are some alternatives if you cannot take a walk after every meal. Maybe you're at a work or traveling or in a meeting and physically unable to walk. What you can do is still do some ankle rotations or bend your ankles, or even like take a walk around your office, take a small walk around the table. Whatever you can incorporate, even in small ways, does help. The goal is to get gentle movement in your body so as to regulate that blood sugar. So, figure out ways to implement this in your daily life and start with, say, implementing after dinner, and then you can start with lunch as well. So, start small and link it to an existing routine, like, say, every time you clear your plate, you then take a small walk, or even start with just a 2 or 3 minute walk. Start small. You can pair it with, say, calling a friend or listening to music. And listening to music actually helps because it helps you like tap to the music, and that's covering your ankle rotation or ankle movement. So figure out ways how you can implement this in your daily life. And next practice is Vajrasan or diamond pose. And this yogic pose is practiced, is recommended to be practiced post meal to aid digestion. Even sitting in Vajrasan for a few minutes post meal can make you feel less bloated and helps circulate blood more towards digesting your food. And this is not a very comfortable pose for beginners, especially. So I suggest you start small and use cushions or folded blankets for comfort. And start with a few minutes and then you can increase from there. You can ideally sit in this pose for like 10 to 15 minutes post meal. And the goal isn't achieving the perfect pose or like for the perfect amount of time. It's cultivating the state of ease and presence after meals. So even if you can't sit in Vajrasan, simple things you could do is simply take a deep breath. Take a few deep breaths or practice presence pause post meal. Even 1 minute is enough to begin. And the real benefit comes from repetition, following this consistently every day. Okay, so start with whatever works in your schedule and you can take it from there. So that's it for today. Pretty small session, but this is an invitation for a final reminder for you to practice all the previous habits. And as I said, this is our last habit. So we're wrapping up this program. We have two more sessions coming up. The next week I'm traveling, so it will be a recorded session. And next week, we will be discussing a bonus habit on top of that adds on to all the existing habits. So, we'll be discussing a bonus habit, and the week after, we will do a summary session, just summarizing all the habits and how they comprehensively sort of take care of your entire wellness when practiced in entirety. So we will have that summary session on the 26th of June. So hope to see you all then. And next week, as I said, will be a recorded session. Any questions from today? Right. You don't have anything? I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you.